Who's sorry now? Who's sorry now?
Greetings from Castle Goring, from Mickey Aurora and from me. Maxim says, Lady C, do you think it's possible that the palace is positioning itself to allow Harry to be half in, half out, with Meghan remaining totally out? No, I think Harry and Meghan have been positioning themselves for Harry to be half in and half out. And I think that in this reign, Harry has got away with things that he would not have been able to get away with in his grandmother's reign, because his grandmother was a much tougher nut to crack than his father is. Harry has been positioning himself to appear to be half in, half out, and he has been succeeding rather better than certain elements in the royal household regard as desirable. Harry may as well make hay while the sun shines, because I can tell you, when there is a lunar eclipse and because I have to tell you, I would be very surprised if when the sun rises on a new day and a new order, that Harry doesn't find that he has been clamped down upon. And my understanding is that Harry and Meghan are absolutely determined to use whatever time Charles has left on this earth to try to eke out as many advantages for themselves as they can possibly get away with doing. And it has to be said, Charles is being a lot tougher than the public will realize, but his way is not to go around making announcements. It's to do things quietly and silently. But Harry is very adept under Meghan's ministrations at playing the system. Meghan is basically an operator who has played the system all her life. And the sad thing is, had she not been an operator who had played the system all her life, and had she been the sincere humanitarian that she posed as being but wasn't, she would still be in the royal family. She would be the most popular woman on earth at the moment. And none of what has happened would have happened. But she, as Bob Simmons said, is a grifter, and she knows how to grift. Or to a more polite way of putting it is, she's an operator and she knows how to operate. I prefer to use the word operator. And she has done it very successfully over the years. She did it with, remember that Irishman called John Fitzgerald, I think his name is, the one who owns the hotel, who she stuck to like glue and charmed and embraced. Just one of many. Meghan has always had the ability, like deodorant attaching itself to armpit. She has always had the ability to attach herself to people who were better placed than she was and would be in a position to advance her ambitions. which are considerable. Well, look at what has happened while Harry was in the United Kingdom. Let us remember that Meghan and Harry are overtly left-wing. Let's remember that. Let's remember this British government is overtly left-wing. Let's remember that Meghan and Harry have given no thought to preserving the integrity of or respect for the British monarchy. They have set out over a period of years to damage it wherever possible if it was in their financial and worldly interest to do so. Harry comes to England and Harry makes the point that I had to check with my wife and the British government to make sure it was okay to go to Kiev. Amazing. Harry has come right out and admitted it, that he organised to go to Kiev on the back of Invictus, where, let's remember, many people in Invictus don't want Harry around. Edward Fortescue made it absolutely clear. Edward Lane Fox stepped down, etc., etc., etc. There is an awful lot going on behind the scenes where Invictus is concerned, and Harry's position is anything but secure. But what does Harry do? Harry is using the tragedy of Ukraine to further his ambitions and secure his patronage at Invictus so that they don't shove him out the way Sophie Chandorka managed to shove him out of Santa Barley. And he approaches the British government. I mean, that's actually unbelievable if you stop to think of it. Because he is putting his personal interests before those of the charity or the British state or the British monarchy. And I'll tell you why I say this. Harry has to know that saying that Kiev might be the site of the Invictus Games in 2029 is possibly, shall we say, not only misguided, but absolute rubbish, because Ukraine is at war. The war hasn't been solved, the problems of the war haven't been solved yet. Let's put it that way. I need to be gentle how I say certain things. Is Harry serious that he is going to, with the consent of the British government, try to promote that Ukraine be the site of the 2029 Invictus Games, when that could actually play adversely into the hands of Vladimir Putin? And it also could play very adversely into the hands of Donald Trump, who is due here for a visit next week. So why is Keir Starmer and his government allowing Harry to be interfering in the Ukraine situation, even under the guise of charity? I mean, the mischief making is truly unbelievable. So yes, is he positioning himself to be half in, half out? He's been doing it and he is continuing to do it. And he has the connivance and the assistance of this government to do it. Think about that for a moment. Just think about it. Then, of course, he's made announcements that he loved being back in the United Kingdom and that he would love to be in a position to come more often and to bring his children. Hint, hint, Pa, I need more security. I need IPP status. And if you don't give it to me, you are the baddie. And everybody will know you're the baddie because I've promised you I will show you Archie and Lily. And if you don't allow me to show you Archie and Lily by giving me IPP status, it's all your fault. Really. Pretty grim and nasty behaviour if you stop to think of it. Mary Ellen Cook says, I am an American and native Texan. I respect the royal family as an entity. I definitely respected her late Majesty. I don't believe that King Charles is the same quality of monarch as his mother. That being said, I also have a problematic child who has accused me of outrageous things. Unlike the king, I am not living with a terminal illness. I believe that King Charles wanted to have closure with the prodigal son for Charles's peace of mind. That doesn't excuse Henry David for his actions. So I can understand how citizens of the UK and the Commonwealth have animosity towards him. It was not the king's idea to receive Harry. It was Harry's idea and Meghan's idea to set it up. That's whose idea it was. And as I said yesterday, Tobin Andre is the one who was sufficiently perceptive and perspicacious to realize that by allowing the visit and doing it in such a way that the message could be delivered to those with eyes to see and ears to hear, that Harry had not been welcomed back with open arms, but had been endured under sufferance. He was let in like any minor functionary. The conditions of his stay were such that he wasn't even given a blue light car, notwithstanding the fact that the family knew that there was going to be a tube strike on the whole week and that the whole of London would be gridlocked, which indeed it was, etc., etc. I don't want to repeat what I said yesterday. I think I went into it sufficiently that I don't really need to go into. I have already made the point that Tobin Andre set up the meeting in such a way that he would give the clear message to anybody who wished to listen and who wished to see what was going on, that Harry was not embraced and welcomed as a long-lost prodigal son who was being greeted warmly and kindly, but that he was received under sufferance with minimal courtesies, minimal, He wasn't even allowed to enter through the family entrance. And even more tellingly, they made sure that he did not have the convenience of a blue light vehicle which would be able to get him around town at speed, that he was going to have to be stuck in traffic like everybody else. So, who has won if you stop to think of it? Oh, Harry and his team have certainly been presenting the meeting as a victory and a monumental victory. But every loss that Harry and Meghan have, they spin as a victory. I have never seen people more adept at snatching victory out of the jaws of defeat than Harry and Meghan. I'm in partnership with Netflix for As Ever. They're backing me. 2 weeks later, they've axed her. I mean, Harry, same thing. He's just more subtle about it. But when you have a problem child and you love the child, as a parent, you have greater tolerance than you could ever imagine. That doesn't mean that you are going to sacrifice all of your principles and interests on the altar of parental love. But it does mean that you will, wherever possible, try to maintain, insofar as the relationship will allow it, some degree of equanimity and hopefully love. I honestly do not see why people would be so upset when actually, if you stop to think of it, Charles and Tobin Andre have actually poked Harry in the eye. That's right. Valerie says, even if Harry ever did apologize to his father, there is a big difference between saying I'm sorry and truly meaning it. If you mean it, you don't do it again. Harry only loves himself as well as the bully wife. There is no making someone like that see reason nor understand how they treat others. As a parent, I understand because of the cancer, but sadly, Harry will never change. He won't change when he has the bully pouring hate into his ears about the royals. Jealousy kills him. Well, to a large extent, I agree with you. I don't think Harry will change. Certainly not when he has Meghan playing Iago to his Othello and the royal family and the British monarchy is Desdemona, and she's busy pouring poison down Harry's ear, and he is receptive to it. That says a lot about his character, and it also says a lot about his weakness and his lack of discernment. Will jealousy kill him? Jealousy has been killing both of them. Meghan is so eaten up with envy that it is beyond belief. I have seen that in other people who display the characteristics that she displays. Many people, I've seen it. My mother was one. And Mummy, rather like Meghan, was always on and on about how everybody was jealous of her. Classical projection. People like that, when they apologize, if they apologize, and Harry, my understanding is, hasn't exactly apologized so much as wangled with enough of a veneer of, I would really like to make a back with Paul. That's what I'd like to do. Doria, I need something to calm my nerves. Bring me some weed. I can understand why Charles doesn't want to be totally on the outs with his son. If I were in his position, I wouldn't want to be totally on the outs with my son. Really. I mean, a good parent will hate the sin but love the sinner. You know, there are people who've committed terrible murders, and until very recently, the loyal parent who said, I condemn what my son has done, but I still love him, he's still my son, and I am still going to be his parent. That sort of attitude was admired until fairly recently. And I actually think that's the correct attitude to have, which doesn't mean that you condone it, and it doesn't mean that you accept it, but you hate the sin and love the sinner. Harry is a very disturbed and very disturbing individual. The ground was laid by, I think, from birth, quite frankly. But Meghan, my goodness, hasn't she planted seeds? And to mix my metaphors, she's also dripped poison in his air. She has played upon his jealousy and played upon her jealousy because it sticks in her craw in a major way that she is not number one. And you and I know she can never be number one. Does Meghan know that? I have some interesting, shall we say, information that I'm just solidifying at the moment before I actually address it fully. But in the meantime, hope springs eternal where Meghan is concerned. Let me leave it at that and say what SGO 460 says. I am disappointed that the king has agreed to meet with Harry, who notified the press of the meeting, and how was there press there to photograph Harry's arrival? If the king as a father wanted to meet his son, this should have been kept strictly private. By notifying the press, this gave Harry the PR stunt that he wanted and needed. Harry's charity shopping trip to the UK was extremely underwhelming, but the meeting gave him all the coverage he was craving. I hope this is not the start of bringing him back. If so, I'm done with Charles. Well, I'm going to take this in reverse order. There's no intention of bringing Harry back. Harry is toast. He's not coming back. And should he end up back in Britain without Meghan, he's still not coming back. It would take a miracle for Harry to come back. Or Oh, please, please, just an itsy wincy binsy teensy plane crash. Oh, please, 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 pretty please. That's real optimism. To be naughty about it all. And yes, you're absolutely right. Harry has set this whole thing up so that he can pose as if he is half in, half out. Make no mistake about it. That is his and Meghan's agenda. Since they are not allowed to be half in and half out, they are going to pose as if they're half in and half out. And the late Queen would not have allowed it. Charles is allowing it. And when Charles doesn't allow it, Starmer is allowing it. The BBC is allowing it. But then there are all sorts of competing factions in this country. And I said a bit earlier, and I'll repeat it again, not everybody in this country, including in the British establishment, is monarchist. Many people are not pro-monarchist. Many people are anti-monarchist. I think there must be hundreds of mandarins in Whitehall who secretly would like to be president or have someone else that they created as president. I mean, if you know how power works and you know the delusionalism that goes along with a lot of politicians and power brokers, I mean, it's like a bad novel. Now, as for Harry's people leaking the visit, well, of course, his people leaked that he was going to be arriving at Clarence's house. What they didn't bank upon was that people like me would notice the downgrade. So they have thought that they were going to do it and upgrade Harry's status. But in fact, they have shone a light on Harry's downgraded status. And shall I tell you something? I would be very surprised if the King and the Prince of Wales and Tobin Andre expected anything else but what has happened, and knew that it would happen, and allowed it to happen, in the knowledge that when it got out, there would be one or two sharp-eyed individuals who would be able to spot the rot at the core and wait for it. Ultimately, there will be other people in the media who will be saying, and they will say, we have an exclusive. We have just discovered, or we are breaking the news that actually it was a bit of a setup and that Harry's success isn't quite the success it was. Doubtless, the Mail will ultimately, if it suits them, be revealing it as an exclusive, the way, for instance, they revealed the exclusive that Catherine and William were on Mystique with their family and her parents. They revealed it exclusively several days after I revealed it here. That's going to happen. So, how much of a victory is this? It's an apparent victory that is basically not quite the victory that some people would like to think it is. And those who dread the fact that it appears to be a victory, console yourself with the fact it's not a victory. And those who think it is will ultimately realize it's actually not a victory. In fact, without it being a defeat, it is a setback at best. But yes, he did get the publicity that he wanted. It's just not the gilded lily that he would have liked it to be, and that it has been presented as being. I hope that makes it clear. I mean, this is all really rather convoluted, but when you are unpicking machinations of the order that have been taking place and the struggle for ascendancy and the struggle for, well, really the competition for recognition and who's going to be in the glorious position and who isn't. Sometimes it's another language and it needs interpretation. Angie McCullin says, Harry will blab and the king will look a fool. Harry is desperate and will do anything for money, status, security, and IPP status. There is being kind-hearted and stupid. A firmer hand was needed. Charles is leaving a problem for William to clear up. The Sussexes are never going to change their spots, especially the wife. She will never relinquish wanting to be top dog, quite true. Always wanting more, quite true. Coming before father and heir, absolutely true. It will end in tears. It's just whose tears is it going to end in? I know where I would put my money. But yes, to an extent, you've hit the nail on the head. But if you regarded the reportage as an outstanding success, once it's explained to you that it's not quite the success, do you begin to see that it's actually Harry blabbed? They knew Harry would blab. That's why they set things up in such a way that when Harry blabbed, he would ultimately end up looking the fool that he is, and that he will be exposed as being, not by all of the press, but, you know, everything I've ever said, every revelation I've ever made was poo-pooed. Well, not every, but most were poo-pooed initially. Then, down the line, it's accepted as gospel. And sometimes someone else is even given credit for it. Well, I have absolute confidence that what I am saying makes sound and solid sense, and that is the game plan that is in operation. Charles is not leaving the problem for William to clear up. Charles is doing what any father who loves his son and who knows that his time on earth is finite. He may not know how long he has, but when you're ill, when you have an incurable condition, it focuses your mind on the fact that life is short. It may not be 3 weeks or 3 months. It might be 3 years, but it's not going to be 30 years. It's not, most likely not even going to be 10 years, much less 20, and certainly not 30. And I don't think anybody can begrudge any father for wanting to feel that he has done everything he could for his children. Really, I think that is a natural thing and a positive thing and a healthy thing. That doesn't mean that Charles is allowing Harry to ride roughshod over him. He's not doing it. He's not leaving the problem for William to clear up. They are functioning in tandem in a way that I think an awful lot of people in the media do not appreciate, because they think that Harry has outmaneuvered Charles, and therefore, by outmaneuvering Charles, that Charles and Harry have dropped William in the substance that Meghan and Harry are so full of that they need 16 bathrooms so that the drains don't get blocked up as they expel their waste matter on the regular and frequent basis that they do. Charles and William are functioning in tandem. You know, saying to a son, yes, you want a meeting? We'll have a meeting. Making it so restrictive and so neutral and anodyne, as if you are actually speaking to somebody you don't particularly like, but you're going to be polite to. That's not exactly cozy or warm. And that doesn't give the message to Harry, at any rate, or to Meghan, that they are prevailing, but they don't care, because they know that they cannot prevail. They don't care about that. Well, they do care about it, to put it another way. They do care about it, but they care more about the fact that as long as it looks as if they are prevailing, even though they're not prevailing, they can work with that material, so to speak. The problem is not being left for William to clear up. The problem is being cleared up as we speak. And wait for when William accedes to the throne, because William knows that leopards don't change their spots. Maybe by the time William accedes to the throne, Harry and Meghan will be a thing of the past. And Harry will have gone into a 12-step program, eaten loads of humble pie, done a lot of the steps and made a lot of amends, and William will, under sufferance, think, oh well, He's my brother. Let us have the husk of a relationship. I come back to the fact that it's a husk that we're speaking about, either with father or son, where Harry is concerned. And sometimes in life, in family situations, the veneer is all that is required for honor to be maintained and for family duty to be acquitted. You don't trust someone who has betrayed you, even if it turns out that they end up bitterly regretting it. And if you are dumb enough to lower your guard, believe me, that person will take another swipe as and when it suits them. I speak from experience because I lowered my guard with my mother. She was treacherous. She was disloyal. She was manipulative and calculating and mischievous, the way Harry and Meghan are. And I lowered my guard enough. I didn't actually trust her, but it didn't occur to me that she could and would create this scenario whereby she would try to gouge my sisters and my eyes out, financially speaking, of course, not literally. But she did. I think William is canny enough to not make the mistake I made. And the Sussexes are never going to change. Neither of them, I don't think. They say where there's life, there's hope. My experience has been that where there's life, there are leopards with spots, and the spots may dim, but they never disappear totally. And usually they don't change at all. And you're absolutely right about Meghan wanting to be top dog. She is firmly convinced that not only should she be top dog, but that with a bit of luck, she will be top dog. But I will get to that on another occasion. And in the meantime, I will say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of some interest to you. I hope that I have helped to unravel the mystery and show you that things are not quite what they appear to be. Yes, the Mail and is leading really the charge to present a false narrative. Not the first time, and certainly won't be the last time. The Mail is extremely mischievous. And it has its reasons for doing so, as we all know. Largely at this point to do with Harry's lawsuit, but also to an extent just to do with content. And let's remember, the media in this country are very competitive, far more so than in the United States of America. So I leave you with that thought and say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of interest to you and that you will keep the questions and comments coming in so I will know what you would like me to be addressing on your behalf with you. Godspeed. And if you have truly enjoyed this, would you care to like, share, press the notification bell, and take good care. Au revoir. Bye bye.